Representative Martin Romualdez formally steps down from his post as House Speaker, with Isabela's 6th District Representative Faustino Bojie Dy III replacing him. This comes months after rumors about a shakeup in the House of Representatives leadership. Speculations that Romualdez is on his way out intensified in recent weeks after he and other lawmakers were dragged into the flood control issue. During the plenary session on Wednesday, September 17, Romualdez announces that he is relinquishing the speakership so that the investigation into anomalous infrastructure projects can be pursued freely.
The issues surrounding certain infrastructure projects have raised questions that weigh not only upon me, but upon this institution we all serve. Ang ating mga kababayan ay naghahangad ng linaw at higit sa lahat ng tiwala. Tungkulin natin ito'y may balik. The longer I stay, the heavier that burden grows on me, on this House, and on the President I've always sought to support. And so, after deep reflection and prayer, I have made a decision today with a full heart and a clear conscience. I tender my resignation as Speaker of the House of Representatives. I do this so that the Independent Commission on Infrastructure may pursue its mandate freely and fully.
Romualdez has not been linked to any of the top companies involved in flood control projects. However, contractor couple Curly and Sara Diskaya named him as one of the lawmakers allegedly receiving kickbacks from the projects. Romualdez dismissed the Diskaya couple's claims, calling it false, malicious, and nothing more than name-dropping. Meanwhile, Dy was elected Speaker through a nominal vote with 253 lawmakers picking him, while no one cast a negative vote and 28 abstained.
Ako po ay kaisa ng ating mahal na Pangulo sa kanyang layunin na linisin ang pamahalaan upang tayo ay bumangon muli. Under my leadership, this House will change. I will not defend the guilty and I will not shield the corrupt.
Under the House rules, those who did not vote for the winning Speaker will be part of the minority bloc. Dy was one of the 11 deputy speakers in the 28th Congress. The newly elected Speaker is affiliated with President Bongbong Marcos's Partido Federal ng Pilipinas. A source told the Inquirer that Dy's affiliation was a key factor in his selection as Romualdez's successor. Malacanang welcomes Isabela Representative Faustino Bojie Dy III as the new Speaker of the House of Representatives. Dy replaces later Representative Martin Romualdez after he resigned amid the flood control mess. Romualdez is the cousin of President Bongbong Marcos. In a statement, the Presidential Communications Office says Marcos recognizes the vital role of the lower chamber, especially when the public demands visible results. According to the PCO, the palace respects the independence of the House while acknowledging the contributions of Romualdez. The palace then says it looks forward to working with Dy in advancing measures that strengthen the economy, ensure basic services, and protect Philippine democracy. It adds that the Marcos administration is committed to constructive collaboration with all lawmakers for the benefit of the people and the nation. Meanwhile, Senator Chis Escudero expresses confidence that Dy will serve the House well. The senator says he believes Dy will steer the House towards greater integrity. However, Escudero points out that the change in leadership should not distract from the supposed unresolved issues surrounding past budgets and infrastructure anomalies. He says the transition should lead to institutional reform and not what he calls selective amnesia. Controversy hounded the lower chamber after contractor couple Curly and Sara Diskaya named several House lawmakers who allegedly received kickbacks from government infrastructure projects. Aside from the lawmakers' request for a kickback, Curly Diskaya claimed a 25% cut would allegedly be given to Romualdez and Ako Bicol Party List Representative Elizalde Co. Romualdez has dismissed the allegations against him as false and malicious. The National Bureau of Investigation says at least 7 of the top 15 contractors for the government flood control project share the same officials. In a press conference on Wednesday, September 17, NBI Director Jaime Santiago says the agency's investigation into alleged corruption in government flood control projects is already underway. This includes projects personally inspected by President Bongbong Marcos. Santiago notes that the interlocking directors in 7 to 8 firms raises suspicions of bid rigging.
We have already coordinated with the Securities and Exchange Commission, checking the board of directors of all the 15 contractors na binanggit ng ating Pangulo. So, eto na naman, hindi ko pa masasabi sa inyo na in detail, but then initially, we found that some of these contractors, at least 7 of them or 8 of them have interlocking directors, ABCDE. ABCDE contractors have the same sets of officers. So, talagang nakakakita kami ng rigging ng bidding process.
But Santiago declines to identify the contractors, citing further investigation. Santiago says the collated information will be turned over to the Department of Justice for case build-up, focusing on flood control projects in Bulacan and Mindoro.
Positive ang aming trabaho for the people, positive for the people ng ating mamamayan na galit na sa corruption. No, may nakita na kami ng mga meron tayong magandang kaso against yung personalities involved. DPH officer, DPWH officer, and contractors.
Aside from being part of Marcos's Independent Commission for Infrastructure, Santiago announces that Justice Secretary Boying Remulla formed a separate task force to probe into infrastructure irregularities. Santiago says the Public Works, Corruption and Bid Rigging Task Force includes prosecutors, certified public accountants, engineers, and NBI agents. The Philippine Coast Guard rejects China's claim that a Philippine fisheries vessel deliberately hit a China Coast Guard ship near Scarborough Shoal. Chinese state media outlet Global Times said on Tuesday, September 16, that a Philippine vessel intentionally rammed one of its ships. More than 10 Philippine government ships escorted over 40 Filipino fishing boats near Scarborough Shoal on Tuesday for a government resupply mission. These include 10 Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources vessel, 2 PCG ships, and 1 civilian vessel under the Department of Agriculture's Kadiwa program. In a press briefing on Wednesday, September 17, PCG spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Commodore Gabriela, dismisses China's claims as false. He cites video evidence and eyewitness accounts that aggressive water cannon attacks from Chinese vessels caused the incident.
What really happened here is that etong dalawang China Coast Guard vessel na umaharas kay Dato Pia ang nag-conduct ng dangerous maneuver na inilabas nila ngayon sa social media, appearing na tayo ang babangga. But still, habang sinasabi nilang tayo ang babangga, pinupombahan naman nila ng tubig yung bridge ng BFAR vessel. So how can you even expect the BFAR vessel to prevent such unintentional ramming kung sila mismo ang lumiko while at the same time water cannon ka sa harapan at sa likuran?
The PCG reported that the most serious water cannon attack occurred at 9:43 a.m. on Tuesday. A CCG vessel with hull number 5201 targeted the BFAR vessel BRP Datu Gumbay Piang. The move shattered the vessel's bridge windows, disabled its air conditioning and electrical systems, and caused a minor injury to a crew member hit by glass fragments. At least 2 other BFAR vessels were also subjected to water cannon assaults but sustained no damage. Despite the water cannon incidents, the PCG maintains that Scarborough Shoal remains outside China's effective control. The Commission on Elections proclaims Gabriela Women's Party as the winning party list in the May 2025 elections. Gabriela Party List First Nominee Sara Elago attends the proclamation on Wednesday, September 17 at the COMELEC main office in Intramuros, Manila. Gabriela Women's Party ranked 55th in the party list race. According to Elago, Gabriela Party List is ready to lobby for legislation for a livable wage, genuine agrarian reform, and lowering prices of basic goods. Elago emphasized that the party list will strengthen anti-violence against women and children law, anti-rape law, the Safe Spaces Act, and the Sexual Orientation, Gender Identity, and Gender Expression Bill, among others. Other party lists in the Makabayan Coalition such as ACT Teachers Party List and Kabataan Party List earlier secured a 1 seat each in the House of Representatives. COMELEC Chairperson George Erwin Garcia announced on Sunday, September 13 that Gabriela Women's Party would take the 64th party list seat. This is in compliance with a Comelec resolution increasing the number of party list seats from 63 to 64. Garcia previously said that he wrote to the Comelec en banc, stressing that the allocation of party list seats in the lower chamber must be 64, in line with the 1987 Constitution. He explained that allotting only 63 seats could be a violation since it is less than 20% of the party list seats in the lower chamber. The Party List System Act mandates that party list representatives should comprise 20% of all House members.